Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Success Podcast. I'm your host today, Jim Ingersoll. It's good to be hanging out with you guys. We are going to talk through some real estate niches from the landlording perspective. No, we're not going to talk about all the fun things like Airbnb, travel nurse, VRBO. We're going to skip all that stuff. It's way too much fun to talk about vacation rentals and things like that. But we are going to dig into the niches of Section 8. Nothing in like the investor landlord space really has such disparity between those that love it and those that hate it as Section 8. So I'm asking you right now, do you love Section 8? Do you hate it? Does it scare you? Do you love getting the rent every month from the government? What's your deal? Leave me your comment right now. I want to hear from you before I give you my ideas on some of the myths, how it works, the good, the bad, the ugly. When it makes sense, when it doesn't make sense, how to get through inspections, how to get your rent, how to find your tenants. I'm going to talk through a lot of that stuff today, but I want this to be interactive. So tell me your thoughts on Section 8. Hey, by the way, if you already signed up for the Dealmaker 2020 Live, I want to thank you. You guys are rock stars, and we greatly appreciate everybody that's already signed up, of course. It's coming up February 6th to the 8th, so it's right around the corner. And you go to dealmakerlive2020.com, check out the information, and join me as we talk about building your rental portfolio, for instance. And today's one of the examples, you can use a niche like Section 8 to make sure that you don't have to worry about collecting your rent every month, right? So do you guys like Section 8? Do you know what it is? It's basically government subsidized rent. It's a freebie that's meant to go out there and help people that are like single mothers with a bunch of kids, or it could be single people as well. We've had both, who need a helping hand. So it's an entitlement program. The government assists with the rent. Typically, the government will cover 70 to 80, 90% of the rent, sometimes 100%. And the nice thing for a landlord is every month it just drops into your account. The government is rarely late. But there are some great things about Section 8. There's some bad things about Section 8. And of course, like every landlording story, there are some ugly things about Section 8. So I want to cover a bunch of those today. So what is it? Well, Section 8 actually dates back to the Housing Act of 1937. Think about it. 1937 was a long time ago. It was like just a few years after the Great Depression. And the government said, here is Section 8. And it's been in existence that long. So if you're hearing that Section 8 is going to go away because Trump's getting rid of entitlements or whatever you're hearing, just forget about it. I think it's highly unlikely that Section 8 will ever go away entirely. It may make it more difficult to get in. It's already a long waiting list. Section 8 pays rent for over 3 million low-income households. Put that number in your head. I think the number is closer to 4 million, but 3 to 4 million people have their rent subsidized and paid by the government. That's a lot of rent. Now, a variety of Section 8 programs are available, but the most popular, of course, is the voucher program, voucher choice program. Now, there's different agencies, and some of the agencies, by the way, are super easy and great to work with, and some of them are super inflexible and difficult to work with, like a government bureaucracy. Here in Richmond, we have two different agencies. I don't want to go into which one works best and which one doesn't, but if you're a landlord in the Richmond, Virginia area, you can leave me your comments on which one you think works the best. They're not all the same. Not all these agencies that help with the voucher choice program are equal. They're not equal. Some can be a living hell for a landlord, and some are really easy. So the program will pay either a portion of the tenant's rent or all of the rent, depending on that tenant's financial situation. Most tenants will pay 10 to 30% of their take-home adjusted income for Section 8 housing. The adjusted income takes into account deductions for dependents, disabilities, medical expenses, and things like that. If the tenant is completely unemployed or has multiple children, they may become eligible potentially to have that entire rent paid by the voucher choice program. So what can be wrong with that? I mean, that's good. As a landlord, Your rent comes in on the 1st every month from the government. It just ACHs into your account. Nothing to worry about, right? But like I said, most landlords seem to either love Section 8 or they just hate it. Makes them want to curl up. They love it because they don't have to worry about receiving their full payment of rent every month on time. Every single month it drops in. You know, during the really tough recession we had a few years back, this worked really well for me. We increased the number of Section 8 housing program that we did in our rental portfolio so that I didn't have to worry about people losing jobs and things, just as one example. But then as the economy got better, it's a lot easier now to find residents with great credit scores and really strong incomes. So if you're worried about the check getting lost in the mail and the million other excuses tenants like to give us for not paying their rent on time, then Section 8 takes that worry away. Hey, by the way, what are some of your favorite tenant excuses for not paying your rent? Leave me your comments. I'd love to hear it. All right, so that's the good part. Rent comes in every month, pretty much on time from the government. So depending on the voucher, tenants are then fitted for a 1 to 3 bedroom property preset by that local agency administrating the voucher. Good news is that monthly rent is often a little bit higher in Section 8 than it is on the regular rental market, though this is sort of adjusted up because the regular rental market has increased through demand and millennials and people that love renting versus buying. Excuse me. So in the past, you get a little bit more for Section 8 than you do on the open market. The government was willing to pay a little more than the open market. That's like evening out a bit right now, and maybe not the case currently. All right, so with all those good things about Section 8, receiving your rent on time, getting a little bit above market rate for your rent, what can be bad about it? What on earth can be bad about getting your rent on time every month? Well, one of the pushbacks that landlords like to give is the regulation. Did I mention this is a government subsidized program? Yes, because of that, it's highly regulated, okay? And with that regulation means the government, the agencies that disperse the vouchers are going to come visit your house and they're going to inspect it. And they're going to inspect it at least once a year with the agencies here in Virginia anyways. So a lot of landlords don't want the government involved in their properties. They don't want those safety inspections. And when they come in, they're going to give you a list of 1 to however many items that you are going to have to fix, okay? You're going to have to repair everything on that list. It's just the way it is. So if you don't want to deal with that regulation, getting an inspection list and having to fix it, then they come back out to your property again and verify everything, then Section 8 will not be for you because you're going to have to keep your house in pretty good working order. All the windows are going to have to open and close. The doors are going to have to open and shut and latch. Everything's got to be in working order. All the burners on the stove, the smoke alarms, even like trip hazards in the yard, like if you have a concrete sidewalk that's lifted up, we don't want people tripping, soft floors on your porch, all those things. Your outlets have to be properly grounded and connected. All those things get double checked by the Section 8 office and they'll do an inspection, give you a list and expect you to fix it. So because of that, some landlords don't like the trade-off of getting that rent guaranteed on every month and potentially higher the market rent for the regulation that they have to go through. So that's the good and the bad. But what's the ugly part of Section 8, Jim? What is it? I hope you're asking yourself, what is your experience with Section 8? Have you done it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What is it? Leave me your comment. Another real big concern is the quality of the tenant. Okay, landlords fear the Section 8 tenants will be rough on their property. They're going to push those doors down. They're going to break the windows and put holes in the wall. But that doesn't always happen. You know, they worry that the tenants won't maintain the house. They won't change their furnace filters. Well, a lot of tenants don't change their furnace filters, guys. That's a whole nother video. They're worried that the leak under the sink will go undetected, but remember, they do an annual inspection, so that's your worst case. And we as landlords should be doing some inspections anyways. Sometimes the tenants have large families, or they have pit bulls, or they invite extended family to come in and stay with them. Extra people can lead to extra heavy wear and tear on your property. And the way to always get over this, the last thing about the ugly part of Section 8 is screen, screen, screen. Now, you may not have to worry about the rent coming in every month, but remember, Section 8 is going to cover a portion. You've got to collect the difference. So if it's $1,000 a month, maybe you got to collect that $150 a month or $250 a month, depending on the situation of your Section 8 tenant. So you've got to go out there and collect that, but that reduces your risk on the rent side. So you may not have to screen as hard for income and credit, but you're going to want to make sure that they do have a job or a way to support that difference in rent. And you're going to want to check back really closely with their past Section 8 landlords to see how the wear and tear on the house was, how long did they stay, and things like that. Another myth with Section 8 is the tenants will come in, stay a year, tear the place up, and then move down the street. What I've found, and maybe you found this too, is that when Section 8 tenants come in and they're actually good Section 8 tenants, they'll stay for multiple years, like 3, 5, 10 years. All that time paying down your mortgage, giving you cash flow and everything else that you're after. So when does Section 8 still make sense, even in a booming economy, when you can go out there and find great houses in great locations with excellent residents, with very high incomes and great credit? Why would you still go to Section 8? Here's a couple of examples. Think about the areas that are gentrifying in your city. Those are the areas where the property values are increasing quickly, but you may not be able to attract your ideal tenant right now because the progress is coming. You're in the path of progress, but it's not to that house yet. I was talking to Daniel Kleeman, a friend of mine, recently about a location in Churchill and Richmond, and I asked him how he would describe it. He said, it's like a hellhole, Jim. You've got an ABC store across the street, you got a police precinct around the corner, and there are prostitutes in the street every weekend. I thought, well, that's true. So that scenario will not allow me to attract my ideal tenant of high income, great credit. But if you're willing to hold on to that property and let the path of progress come in, the area will change over time. And maybe that's an example where Section 8 makes sense to you. You could create a really nice house, really good property, safe, secure, all that stuff. And maybe you put some Section 8 folks in there for 5 years. And in the meantime, the path of progress comes, the demographics, everything changes, and life goes on. Here's the bottom line. Some landlords love Section 8. I know real estate investors that have had 100% of their rentals filled with Section 8 for many years, and it gives them really nice understanding of managing their risk because they can make their mortgage payments because that rent comes in every month. Imagine an entire portfolio of rentals where you don't have to worry about collecting rent. Other landlords hate Section 8 because of the challenges of managing the entire process. How about you? What are your experiences? Did you try it out? Did you drop? Did you stay? What is it? Share with me what your concerns are, what your experiences are. I would love to hear from you. As far as like the inspections and the regulation side, what is it in our houses that typically are going to break? Why don't you start to think about what you can eliminate when you're doing that? There's a great book on Section 8 I'd like to refer to you. It's called the Section 8 Bible. There's 2 volumes, by the way, and you can get that on Amazon. But think about things you can eliminate: ceiling fans, garbage disposals, sidewalks, whatever it is. Think about those things. What can you do to, like, I don't want to say tenant-proof your house, but what can you change as far as like scope of work when you're rehabbing a house that's going to really help you prevent you from having high maintenance bills over the next 5 years? If you're in an area that's like a hellhole or wherever else you want to rent to Section 8, and I love our Section 8 tenants, by the way. I'm not dissing on Section 8. I happen to really like Section 8. I think it works really well in the right environments. And I appreciate the people I've worked with over the years. Maybe it's for you, maybe it isn't. Leave me your comments. Thank you guys very much, and I hope everybody will think about how you can adequately use Section 8 to get your houses done. See you guys later.